Good morning, afternoon, good evening, good night, whichever it is as you're watching this. Ron Schleck, Matt Wilson, and a
Hello.
special guest, Rob Wilkinson, on Figuring It Out this time. Ron Schleck wearing a mask for your safety and mine as we begin to talk about competing, potentially confusing frameworks that can be confusing, especially with compliance requirements, and thinking about how picking the right one for your organization has an impact beyond just your particular organization. So with that said, I know Rob has some heavy points to make during this
Heavy.
session.
Watch and out. How long,
Yeah.
what's the over-under on how long Ron keeps the mask on too? We need
I'm
to
keeping it on the
establish
entire
that.
time. This
Well,
is the new normal.
Okay. So Rob, you and I had chatted a little bit, and it was a good idea that you came up with. It's something you see at our clients. And by the way, Rob is one of the new guys at BTB, relatively recent addition, great addition to our CISO advisory practice. So cheap plug there. But Rob and I were chatting, and he had, hey, we run into all the time. People get all wrapped around the axle about a framework, and they hear all this. They hear the 3-4 letter words, 5-letter acronyms, whatever. And so go ahead, Rob, bring us in. What have you been seeing our clients struggle with?
Just getting completely wrapped around the axle with the alphabet soup of the frameworks and compliance regulations and vendor management forms that they might receive. And the whole purpose of a framework getting completely overwritten. If cybersecurity is difficult to communicate in the first place, and a myriad of organizations have spent I won't go billions, but millions of dollars invested.
And our tax dollars, right?
Yeah,
Some
that's
of them are us U.S. citizens. Our tax dollars have gone to this.
Into trying to control. So it's like we have some government organizations that have put out very valuable stuff. Nonprofits, big corporate, in the case of PCI, controls and recommendations, best practices. And when you mash them all together, all this investment is lost if we're confused and we can't read it and we're not focusing.
I think it's confusing too for most folks that work in a security organization or defining what they want to do, because it seems like more than once a year we see something new, either in terms of a totally new regulation or something that's kind of sweeping across, not federally, but from particular states, that makes it even more confusing. But I mean, I know going back years, we would have customers that would be looking at, well, we want to be PCI compliant, or specifically, like, we have to make sure that we're HIPAA compliant, and we're working towards that. And I know years back, our approach was always, think a little bit further than this one particular regulation, and let's look at, what you can put in place to make sure that you're globally covered, right, throughout your organization, but then also allow for enough of a framework where it can be defensible moving forward, right? It's not necessarily per the regulation. You might be able to show your compliance for that regulation or industry-based standard, but it gives you a wide enough framework that you're able, when the next new thing comes around, CCPA or New York DFS stuff comes around, like, okay, well, this is how it plugs into our existing framework and our control structure for that. I think that that's still probably the better approach, but you have companies that operate very specifically in, kind of silos, and it maybe only be looking at one regulation. So I think we're still running into that now.
Well, that's right. That sorry, Matt, but that regulation-centric drive towards cybersecurity led to this checklisty, idea that if I just stretch and somehow get these things done, now I'm secure.
There's this magical tap dance you can do, and if you do it in this order, you're good.
That didn't cost me anything. It's like,
Yeah, I mean, look, the PCI Standards Council had to release, and it's old at this point, but the prioritized approach, because PCI had their requirements and people couldn't hit all of them. So they said, well, what do I do first if I can't do it? So they had to rate things of high priority, lesser priority, all the way down. So a couple things we can unpack here that we all agree on. We've all said before, compliance is not security. Right. And the other thing that I think we can help people with is, if you're going to do an assessment and just laser focus on a compliance requirement, pick anyone. I don't care what one, a set of compliance requirements. You're going to spend as much with an assessor, be a BTB or someone else, to do that focused assessment almost as much, just about as much as if you did a more comprehensive assessment that's going to be able to map to all that other stuff, right? And the other pro tip, and we've talked about this, is go ahead, just Google NIST cybersecurity framework crosswalk to anything, right? HIPAA,
Right.
PCI. People
They
have done this
align
stuff.
mostly, you know.
Yeah, it's just a set of terms, right?
Yeah, it is crazy. I don't know. So what are the thoughts? I mean, I think no matter what framework you pick, there's a couple things that everybody should be doing, right? And it's not necessarily rocket science, as a lot of stuff in security really isn't. It's just finding a process to kind of identify what needs to be done and then going forward with it. So Rob, in our practice and kind of CISO advisory overall, what are the top three or a couple things that we always tell clients when they start to get into the mix of, which is right for me, but then also what do I need to do to get this stuff in order, or how do I pick the right one?
Yeah. So there are several differentiators between the different frameworks that can help you narrow down your choice. If you're a smaller business or you've got a really immature cybersecurity program, we tend to look at the Center for Internet Security, Critical Security Controls, like all high impact, relatively easy to implement. And
it's the old SANS top 20 for those that have been around for a hot minute.
Yeah, right? It's CIS 7.1 now. But even that updates itself all the time. So if you spend 2 years trying to work on this thing and all of us, now you're out of date. Yeah. So that's a good place to start. But then there's industry specific things too. If you have DoD clients, you want to look at NIST 8171 or 800-171, and so forth, So we try to narrow it down to what applies to that business first. And then again, try to assess something and meets them where they're at so that we can quickly start prioritizing those high impact, easy to implement, changes, remediations, or controls. And
that's really the key,
business.
Right? Knowing where you're at and then having a plan to get somewhere better. And this stuff doesn't stop, right? It's not like you do this magical tap dance just because we say so, or some regulator says so, or some framework says so. You're not done. You're going to have to continually, or periodically, I should say, reassess, but you're going to show that you measure that progress. And then I don't care if they're your customers, if they're your regulators, if they're your external audit firm, internal audit function, whatever it is, they're going to look at what you're doing. And again, the line I always use is they might not like how you did it in the decisions you made, but if you have the justification for the plan, they'll have to understand and accept that you did have a plan, you made progress. No one has enough budget, right? The budget fairy doesn't just come in and drop all the money on you to solve everything at once. That doesn't exist.
We're going to plan this over 3 years. And equally, it's going to be really hard to track your progress over time if you're jumping frameworks, every 6 months.
Yeah. Create the plan, create the roadmap, work on it, demonstrate progress over time, and be transparent about what you're doing. And I think it gets people a lot closer to being actually secure as opposed to just kind of chasing the alphabet soup on particular regulations, right?
So if we had to recap what we're kind of saying here, it's compliance is not security. Yeah. Pick a framework. I don't care which framework you pick, but pick it and stick with it. Measure, right? And then pull along your regulatory needs, right? Because a good framework will help you identify them as part of it, right? That's part of, like ISO has a whole element, a whole control domain around regulatory compliance, right? So you can do that kind of stuff. So pick it. I don't care what it is. If you want to have a contest over ISO is better, NIST is better, CIS is better, pick it and do something with it.
But I would emphasize, pick it based on your own understanding of your business requirements. Don't just pick it because, an assessor told you this one or a peer, that you trust does this.
Very true.
You got to internalize that.
Absolutely. Good stuff. Well, thanks, guys. Next week, Matt, the topic is?
Yeah, we're going to talk with our wonderful Renee Sullivan, who is director of our marketing group here at BTB. And because we do some marketing functions and we're out of some conferences, and we think we do a fairly good job of not annoying people, having some fun ourselves, and also having fun with the people that are there. We're going to get her insights as to how to be at a conference as a vendor, and what we're thinking as a vendor, what goes through our head, and what, you know, the kind of interactions we're looking to have, and how we're really just good people on the inside.
Yeah, sounds good. Can't wait.
All right. Well, thank you, Ron. Thank you, Rob. Welcome to BTB, and we'll see everyone next week.
Thank you, gentlemen. See you later.
All right. See you guys.